Hey there, welcome to the the Gyro Step Podcast Network crossover pod on a beautiful Thursday morning. We've got the whole gang here, myself, Ty Windish, my co-host, the indubitable Rohan Kadi. We've got, I don't have an adjective for Adam, he's going to be upset. We have
After
Adam
that
McGee.
adjective choice for Rowan, I'll pass. It's
Adjectives
cool.
are a nighttime thing for me. We also have Jordan Tresky on the pod. We've got a lot to talk about. The Cron, if you're watching on YouTube, has a few topics, but we really just a lot of Buck stuff going on, a lot swirling. So, welcome, guys. What should we talk about first?
Is it really a beautiful morning?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really
No,
rainy outside.
It's really rainy.
Yeah, it's raining in Oshkosh. It's kind of cold, but we're all
I just
together.
looked out my window and I was like, oh, this isn't that great. But yeah, you're right. We're all together,
Yeah.
so it is a beautiful morning.
What do we want to start talking about? I don't know. I'm afraid to make suggestions.
Jordan.
Well, we're coming off a loss to the Timberwolves, a real howler, as Rowan Caddy.
So I'm proud of that one. Make sure you
It's a good
subscribe
one.
to the Substack.
Yes.
Let's talk about Shammy.
Let's do it.
Wait.
Obviously, that dominated our last podcast somehow.
Can I pull back the curtain here? I think it's important.
Uh-oh.
So we've a group chat where we talk about podcast things. And before we start recording, Ty put in, kind of mapped out some talking points for the pod, make sure everyone's okay with them. I noticed something someone was missing, considering it was the predominant talking point of our last episode. There was no mention of Semi Ojeleye, who made his Bucks debut. So I just, jokingly, I put in a Semi Ojeleye gif, and I got
GIF.
Rowan, you're my witness. I got obliterated.
Oh, okay.
It's a very sensitive topic right now. So that's when Ty's like, what do we want to start the pod by talking about there? That's why there's silence, It's because, is this a safe place? I don't know.
The norms for debate and discourse have changed. This is the same culture that says Doc Rivers obliterated Ben Simmons. No, he didn't. I didn't obliterate Adam. Doc didn't obliterate Ben. Joel did, but it took him a while to do it. At first, I don't think
Was
he
it
did.
on a scale of 1 to 10 for Ty? Was it hostile?
It was very hostile for Ty. Ty is a very he's a
You touched the third rail.
I broke the rule we established on the last podcast, which is tweet but don't read tweets. And I read a bunch of tweets. I'm done with the Shemi era. Get Shemi out of here. Shemi's a bum. Don't play another minute in Milwaukee. Blah blah blah. I'm not buying into that. But yes, we can talk about it.
That's all dumb.
That
We
is
all
dumb.
agree
Yeah.
that's nonsense.
It is.
Okay.
And that's what when I'm saying to talk about Shemi, I don't have any take like that. Was he good? No.
it's
Does it really
really
mean
bad.
anything? No, it doesn't mean anything. I don't think it changes how I felt in the last episode, that Rohan felt, or how you felt, Ty. Jordan was not on the last episode, but I'm sure Jordan.
Let me guess
perfectly
Jordan's,
right down the middle.
Yeah, let me guess Jordan's Shemi take. Could see it working, could see it not.
Reserving judgment.
Reserving judgment is exactly. Here we go.
The one thing I thought was interesting, okay, so he went 0-5 from deep. There was some kind of rumblings of, oh, look, he went out and he shot it. I even think Giannis kind of made reference to that as a positive. He shot 3 times his first 2 minutes, and then he got pretty shy about it.
Yeah.
So don't let the 3 misses discourage you. Just keep going. Like, if that's what you're going to be there. I think for his first game, the thing that caught my eye, without even being on the lookout for it, so if I was to go back and watch again, there may be some more instances. Not sure entirely that he had the spacing down. I think a few times where he could have been to the dunker spot, he was in the corner, and vice versa, just a little bit of confusion. And I guess that's natural because he sat out what would have been time for him to kind of bed in and learn some stuff. So not great all around. My biggest takeaway is just it's going to be interesting to watch him continue to adjust to it, because I didn't feel like he's really on the same page as any of the other guys. I think a lot of the new players have kind of got it down. Whether they're personally playing well yet is a different question. But I think that they at least look like they've got a feel for what the Bucks are going to do. But yeah, it wasn't great. I do, just in the way he plays, I do have questions over what his position is, what his style is. Maybe he is kind of getting to a point in his career where he could be reworked into more of a big. His rebounding was both sides not good, like kind of flailing arms. So that would concern me. But I am I'm interested to see how that unfolds. I mean, the best play of the night for him is obviously his incredible save. Also play throwing himself on the ground. At the same time, I do not want to encourage him to just plant face first.
That was
Like,
rough. That was
he-
I
rough.
thought he would
He's a
have left the game
sicko.
after that.
He probably should have left the game,
No,
but you
I
just
love
don't
it.
see anyone very often be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna face plant to get this." Like, no even
It's like
slight
Dennis
thought of
Rodman.
extending something to, soften the fall. So they're my Shemi takes. That's all I wanted to talk about. I hope I haven't kind of rocked the apple cart.
I think Shemi and Thanasis are going to be best friends after that. Like, I feel like TA was watching that play. I think he's maybe actually the one who Shemi threw the ball to. I can't remember, but he was like that's what we need more of on this team and in this world, is what I imagine TA saying when he saw that happen. But yeah, no, it was bad for me. What broke my spirit yesterday and elicited my heated response this morning, the fact that he also went 0 for 2 from free throw, it just killed me.
Yeah,
I was like,
wasn't
you
great.
missed 5 threes, you missed 5 threes, whatever. Everyone's missed 5 threes. Getting to the line was good. Missing them both was bad. The save was good. He had only one rebound. It was offensive. Certainly needs to do better there. But I agree on the not being. For me, it actually the opposite stuck out more. Like, there was a point when he just kind of like floated into the dunker spot, but there was already a few guys there. And it's like, no, this is not the time for the dunker spot. There's too much
TA's
traffic.
territory.
That is certainly TA's territory. The TA would never go 0 for 5 from deep. I lied when I said everyone's gone 5 for 5. 0 for 5, excuse me. Maybe in one of the starts when no one else is around. But yeah, it wasn't great, and I certainly hope he looks better next time. But I think this is a pattern we're seeing with all the guys who haven't played in a while and then get back into action. Rodney Hood looked awful in his first game. I thought he actually looked quite good in this game. He was probably one of the Bucks' 3-4 best players against the Timberwolves. And our guy Bobby Portis, he has his own page of the book on offense, which is I'm going to shoot now, which was mixed results. On defense, though, not a great showing from Bobby Portis, and again, it's his first game back. Neither of these guys got down stocks. Rodney Hood didn't get one either in his return to action, just because let's give him some time to knock the rust off.
It's unfair. It's unfair.
But I want to get to the second thing we have listed here. Just, are the Bucks too small? Do the Bucks need another big? Because I know Portis was rusty. We're not saying he's terrible. He's not. He's a good player. I kind of was won over as the season went on that maybe he's not a center. Maybe he's better as a 4, even though he does have, I think, the height to be a center. Defensively, he's just not doing anything but switching, which essentially means you're a 4, right? I mean, if you could play center defense, then you could drop or do something else. Bobby can't drop. It's a disaster every time. They tried it again. It doesn't work. He's not good at it. I think they do need another backup big, and Adam has just been nodding vigorously, so we'll throw to you first. But I know you said this, I think more, you were at least firmer on this early than anyone else. I'm guessing your mind has not changed that the Bucks are one true big short.
I've probably said this. We did talk about this the other night too, but I think Jordan could attest to said it on every podcast for about 2 months now. It's like it's very obvious. It's the hole in the roster. Very, very obvious. Bobby, sure, he can play there. That's not ideal. I still very strongly feel this is not something we want Giannis to have to do a lot of this year. I know he even talked up after the game. He thinks there's a lot of benefits to getting more practice in it, getting some reps. I don't disagree with that, but there's a certain point then where it's time to be like, okay, we don't need you doing that all the time. We don't need you going up against Karl Anthony Towns. He has a tough enough time as it is with all of the attention he's going to get, seeing as many guys as he did. And I can't really remember too many occasions where it seemed like it was him against 4 opponents, as it was last night against the Timberwolves. But there's just a glaring need for someone on this roster who, not even necessarily to rebound, but to, as Brook does so well, to put a body on someone so the rest of the team can come in and clean up. It is really, really rough. I even felt watching the broadcast. First of all, the broadcast is great. Lisa Byington, I don't know if we've talked about it all. She's fantastic. And her and Marcus already, you can hear
seamless.
It's going to be like the best pairing in the NBA. So that is absolutely incredible, considering how good Paschke was, how much we all loved him, and how long he had been there to start a new season, and not to be feeling like, God, yeah, this is fine, but wouldn't it be better if he was here? All credit to Lisa Byington and to Marcus. I haven't felt that yet. But on the broadcast, I thought a lot of the talk was kind of obviously going to the Bucks weren't getting a lot of offense. They had a one-man offense very much in terms of Giannis was playing the Wolves on himself for a lot of the game. And while the Wolves were pouring in shots, the Bucks were making a lot. And I was just looking at the scoreboard as the game progressed, and the game progressed. I'm like, the scoring isn't the problem. You know, they scored 34 points in a first quarter, giving up 44 points, that's the issue. And that's when you're not preventing second chance opportunities, when you're not offering the kind of resistance that usually you would at the rim. It's just a tough spot, I think, generally for the Bucks, who are so used to funneling towards the rim for Brook, and then you've got Giannis on the weak side. When you've only got Giannis and you've got some of the other players out there, there's not as much to go on. I mean, is Jordan Ward the second best shot blocker currently healthy on the roster? He probably is. I didn't know that like 10 days ago. Grayson Allen's probably in the mix too. But I just think there's no doubt about it. And even on offense, they could probably do it a little bit more, but it's interesting seeing some of the combinations they're putting out there. But even for stuff like pick and roll and setting screens, like I think it's noticeable when Thanasis comes into the game. If you're asking Thanasis to set a screen, he's going to go and set the screen. And they actually got some better looks. He had a nice pick and roll. Might have been with Grayson. Can't remember who exactly that finished in an easy dunk for him.
Justin Robinson.
Was it Justin Robinson? And that's just, again, an example of, it's not even necessarily the kind of thing we see from Brook a lot, but it's just an example of something that the Bucks are lacking, because it's just a big, like, ideally they get a center who works well. I would take another kind of strong power forward who's just going to soak up some minutes. I don't think that's the ideal, but that would be better than what they have right now. They just need more big bodies who can play, who can offer something. But the ideal is that you get someone with real size who's going to help you, one, protect the rim, two, box out. And from there, then the team is set up to do the rest of it. But it's not a new concern. It's one we've had for a long time. Like, Brook is the linchpin of this team. We've said it for years. Like, this whole defense, now through various forms, has kind of been built around him, funneling to him. He's always been, when it's like, are they going to switch? He becomes the main topic of conversation. It's all kind of dictated by him, what he does, the kind of player he's become with the Bucks. And not having someone to approximate that in his absence is an issue. And the Bucks aren't blind to this. I think there is a reason they literally went and got his twin brother a couple of years ago to be like, well, this is really good, but what happens if he misses some time? Let's get the player closest in style to him in the NBA. And then they moved away from that. And I don't think any of us were quite sure at the time. Like, Robin's playoff, just kind of, I don't know, being excised from the roster in the bubble didn't make a lot of sense at the time. They decided to go a different direction. I think they may need to think about kind of a best of both worlds between those two approaches at this point, though.
I think the problem with that is, like, they were fine with going away from having another guy because Brook just never missed any time. He was never out of the, never out with injury, never missing any time. This is the first time really in his entire Bucks career that he's missed an extended period of time. So it's never really been an issue in the past, which is why all of these problems are coming to the forefront now that Brook isn't here. What's the say? You don't know how much you miss them until they're gone, sort of thing. That's what's going on with Brook Lopez. So this is why it's like, Robin Lopez is a great example because he's too good to be a break glass in case of emergency center, right? Like, that's why he was able to get like a mid-level exception deal 2 years in a row, because he's too good for that. Now they need to sort of see if they can get someone in between, which is tough because that's a really, really tough line to sort of walk.
Especially now, after free agency, when most players are already signed. I think it's something that probably should have been looked at closer in the offseason. And I agree with you, Rohan, that I don't think they need a Robin Lopez who's going to play 15 minutes a night when everyone is healthy. I think they need an emergency guy because, look, even in this game, I don't think Giannis was incredible defensively. He was certainly incredible offensively, and we're going to talk about Giannis more on this pod, but they won his minutes by 9 in a game that they lost by 5. Like, he was good enough. They were good enough with him at center to be really good. Part of that is just he's amazing and covers up for a lot, but it's the minutes when he was off, when they had no size, and when he was off and Towns was on, Pat Connaughton trying his best. They also were way too willing to switch out on the perimeter. I think they just didn't want Towns to shoot threes, but they were giving Towns some really way too easy matchups. I don't think would have happened if they cared more about the game, quite honestly. But they need someone who, Brook is out. Now you're going to play 20 minutes a night or whatever it is. I don't think they need an everyday player. And I don't think they need another guy who can play at the 4 either. I actually feel like they might even have too many of those. In this, like, they got Bobby, they got Shemi, who we'll see. Wara's kind of that. Thanasis is kind of that. Rodney Hood is almost that. I mean, Sandman, Chris, Pat C plays some 4. Like, they have a lot of guys who I'm comfortable with at the 4. The problem is they only have 2 guys who I'm comfortable with at the 5. And when one of them's hurt, that's just not enough minutes at center. So I agree, like, someone who can just come in and play. I need so little offensively from this player. Like, roll to the rim. That's all I need. I don't need. You don't have to be. I like bigs who can pass, but I'm realistic. I don't know how much you're gonna find. I don't need a mid-range game. Like, a good defender who can roll to the rim and finish if the defense goes after the other player. That would do me just fine. I hope there's someone like that out there.
Someone who potentially has a hook shot.
I would kill. Listen, Dante for Robin Lopez. I put it out there yesterday.
No, I think he's talking about
John Henson.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's as good an option as anyone. He's one of the few centers I could think of that's just like, I don't know though. Is he kind of semi-retired?
He hasn't played since the 20. Or no, he played with the Knicks like briefly last year.
He hasn't played, and this is not the most scientific way of judging it. And I might actually respect him more for it. He's not a like show your work on Instagram kind of guy. If he's still like really kind of into the grind day to day, working for the opportunity back, I don't know if I've necessarily noticed that. But there aren't a lot of options out there, and I don't disagree on the 4 side of it, Ty. But I part of my reason for saying that is I think the Bucks are in a spot where they can't get too choosy because I really don't. There are like barely a handful of centers out there, and even like John Henson, as an example, John Henson it's been a while, it's been a while. What does that look like? It might be, I think the number 77 is available. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Oh, you're talking about Ursan?
I'm not talking about Ursan. I mean, I just don't know.
I think Ty was going JOB.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think they're both a little too small, honestly.
Well, honestly, I personally would have kept JOB, and I said this from the moment he was signed, and I kind of think you all disagreed with me in thinking it's the way they would go, but to me, I was like, they need that guy. They need someone who's going to do that. So as much as we all hoped, I really thought they would keep him around, and they showed very little interest in that. So
I've got a list of names.
Tough.
I've got a list of names.
I've got a list in front of me, and it's not good. Fire away.
How bad do we think Aaron Baines is now?
He can't play. He's in a nerve issue.
Oh, that's right.
If Aaron Baines could play, Aaron Baines is probably a book like 3 days ago.
Bismack
he also
Biyombo
would be in the league.
God, no.
I said this name. I had Twitter alerts on for Biz for a while. I really thought they were gonna do it at one point.
Oh,
I sorry, Biz.
That was a dark time.
I unsubscribed from the Twitter alerts. Felicio? Maybe if they don't pay him $8 million a year like Chicago did, it's not a good list.
It's not. Boogie is like
no. It's a no from me. You know what?
I think Boogie might be
probably
the best option.
He is the best option. It's not a good option.
Isn't Harry Giles unsigned?
But he's kind of a 4 to 5. That's my point.
I think he's a better defensive 5 than Boogie Cousins.
You don't have to sell me on Harry Giles. I've literally been screaming this to the rooftops for years. I don't know if that would necessarily work, but I think it's a really interesting flyer, particularly if you are going to say to him, we just want you for the moment, focus on being a role player, focus on rolling to the rim, focus on getting out in transition.
I don't know if he can get out in transition anymore is the issue.
I think he can. I think he can you're not going to ask him to do it for 30 minutes a game necessarily, but I do think he can do some of that. I think that's the more interesting kind of approach, but there isn't a lot there. Like, I
have a G League name I really like who's on this list.
Go on.
Norvel Pell can play. Ever since I saw him in Norvel Pell, I think is an NBA player. Probably the best name we've said so far, in my opinion. Like, as an
he even had some good games with the Sixers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's played in the NBA a little bit. He's certainly not proven, but like I would rather go with someone like that, or even the Justin Patton, who was on the Herd for a little bit, and now I think is on a different G League team. I'd rather try somebody like that than Boogie Cousins at this point. Plus,
But like
it's
we've
cheaper on the
seen,
luxury tax. So
we've seen DeMarcus have like relative playoff success like last season.
but no, I want defense though. I don't buy I don't think he ever really did anything there.
I
certainly
mean,
don't
like
think he is
I'll
now.
take someone who's proven to be good at least at something.
Eh.
You know, rather than
Yeah, I mean, I see what
taking
you're
a
saying.
flyer at someone who's not shown. I'm not saying it would end poorly. I'm saying I want to have someone who's actually shown the ability to succeed in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I hear you.
I mean, on that brings us to like someone who is on this list and I think has shown the ability to do some stuff in the league, but for different
Larry Sanders.
reasons. I was not thinking of Larry Sanders.
I don't think they
but
put him on lists anymore.
Myers Leonard is not someone I
No,
particularly want
no,
around. Don't want to do that.
No.
Absolutely
But
not.
if you're talking like the pool of guys, if the Bucks decide to think the way you just described, Rohan, he's going to be on a short list. Now they should be staying
they're
away
not.
from that.
They're not.
I don't know if
Jerome,
he's ever going to get signed again.
he is not, especially with the Bucks.
I understand your point completely, but I'm saying we saw a deal they made last year. Someone was not the focus of the deal, but they made a deal, and they were in no rush to cut ties with a certain player. It happened eventually. I wonder what level of pragmatism, particularly. I mean, the key question here is like, are we talking a few days? Or are we talking a few weeks? Or is this something that could be an issue for Brook all season? It's like, what did the Bucks themselves think?
That's one point I wanted to make earlier. Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I was gonna say that's the thing is, I mean, this is gonna be an issue all year long. It's not just Brook. Drew's. It's been a week, and they've said, "Oh, he's sprained his ankle. He's had a groin injury, and he left."
He had a groin injury?
Yeah, that was news to me. Or Bud said something about like he's had like some growing tightness or something like that, and he left the Nets game with what, a heel contusion.
Yep.
So like we're already being put to the test with like two of their starters and two of their probably. I'm not discrediting Giannis or Chris and what they do defensively, but like it starts with Brook and how they're like whole, as we talked about, like their whole defensive scheme. Just having an on-ball defender like Drew Holiday who can, if he would have played last night, he would have been on D'Angelo Russell. He would have been on Anthony Edwards. Maybe a little bit on Karl-Anthony Towns. Like he's just that versatile and malleable. I think what's frustrating is that like this is the start of it. And, I think they're going to probably, especially with this kind of scare, they're going to probably pace these guys a little bit more in terms of like, they'll know which days they'll have them go, which days they won't. And, Brook has been able to avoid the injury bug for a long time, ever since his foot troubles earlier in his career, but he's still, 33, 34, right?
Yeah, it's going to catch up.
It's going to catch up. Yeah. He has been.
I'll just go ahead. Sorry.
No, he has been like their Iron Man to this point of the Bud era, but it's funny to see like how, our biggest question going into the year, considering just how this roster was formed, was like, how do they replace PJ Tucker? And now it's like, well, they need some more size. They clearly need more size, but they need, what Brook does is just invaluable, and it's hard to replace in just a single swoop because, he does so many little things that we often take for granted.
Also, I don't think Giannis is going to play all 82. So even if Brook is back and healthy, like again, you're in this position where you have one guy you're comfortable playing at center, and Brook is certainly going to play less minutes than Giannis has early in the season without Brook healthy. Giannis is like 36-ish minutes, and I think 36 in the last game. I think he was a little less than that last night. But yeah, you just this position where you only have one guy you really trust at the 5, I just think is tenuous. I think you can get through it a night here or there, but I think based on the season so far, I'm hopeful we won't see 6 guys out anymore. You never know. But I just think you need to be more prepared than in years past. After the longest playoff run, the extra work for Drew and Chris, like you're just gonna need nights off. Like this is probably the worst year to not have the backup center. You know, you could have they did get by in 18-19. They had Robin the 1 year. After that though,
even like beyond that, they had Christian Wood.
Yeah.
Like I know he didn't play that much, but they even had Dragan Bender. Like he played a couple of games that year. Like they just don't have those options.
Another free agent.
Is he?
He's probably under contract overseas. I think he is. I think is Tel Aviv still. Or
they'll buy out guys.
He is. I'm watching Dragan Bender play later tonight.
Oh, there you go. So NBA free
Jahlil Okafor is someone who is on the list there. That was like he's got size.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they made Bobby Portis work, I think they.
If we're taking washed up big guys, I'm taking Boogie over Okafor.
I'm out.
I don't know on
that. Really sad to me that Derek Favors has a player option for the year after this one because he would have been the best possible buyout guy, and the Thunder are refusing to play him more than like 15 minutes a game because they're trying really hard to lose. Yeah.
And he's like their only vet.
Mike Muscala is the other one.
That's fair.
But he's also on a 2-year deal. I'm guessing it's not guaranteed. He's recently signed too. So they probably didn't sign him to buy him out.
Maker.
No.
Thon Maker's under contract. So anyway.
Good.
Hapoel Jerusalem.
I tweeted this. I have no interest in Bol 1.0. I'm good. Not a center.
So is Bol 2.0? Like
he
did Bol is like 1.1.
He did ask for a trade request, I think, Bol by liking someone's tweet.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Why get Bol 1.0 when you can just have Bol?
Yeah, Don does not want to come back to play a bench role. We know this. So
he's gonna start somewhere. Him and Mirotic. They want to take the last shot and have bigger roles elsewhere. No one say Mirotic seriously. By the way,
no.
I might stop watching.
I think he's done. He's done in the NBA.
Yeah, he
doesn't want to be there. He's tearing up EuroLeague, and he's like, "Great, I'm the man over here." I would have made that phone call to Marc Gasol.
I don't think he wants to do it. I would kill.
No, he doesn't. But I would have made the phone call. Like,
is he playing?
No.
I bet him. I don't know if
because there was all those like everybody's like, oh, he's gonna play for his hometown team. What a great story. That is quiet. Yeah, he's just a free agent.
That would be, oh my God, that would be awesome. He would be, he's exactly what I would want, honestly. He won't shoot the ball. I don't even care. Just do your thing defensively.
And we probably get more pissed off that he wouldn't shoot.
Yeah, for sure. He refuses to. He just doesn't care to. I'd be okay with it. He and Brook, I think they'd be best friends immediately.
He's also he's my favorite kind of big guy.
Yeah.
Great passer.
Powell liked it here.
Great defender.
Powell did like it here.
Ring endorsement. I mean, Powell. You put all those tweets out, but if it's not too late, Powell.
What can we bring Powell as like a development?
Oh, you want to
coach?
bring Powell back?
No, Powell is a coach.
Sure, I'll take Powell over some of the things you're saying. No,
yeah, but guess how? Do you remember how Powell got to Milwaukee?
Mirotic.
This.
So maybe the well is poisoned.
A little bit.
Maybe we.
I think Powell enjoyed his time more than Mirotic, which is.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Powell just got to sit there and have a good time, you know.
Yeah, he was on that. Remember, he hurt his foot, and then he was on the picture with
I have the
thumbs
picture.
up on like little at the behind the seat.
Do you think Dante got that one next? I think that's Dante's been scooting around.
Yeah.
He's off the scooter. That's. The
I know.
Oh, this timeline.
We
got this timeline, guys.
Timeline.
Oh, good Lord.
But I think they need a big guy. They need to find one somehow.
They need a big guy. They're also just not going to get one.
Yeah,
we'll see. I think it's possible. I know I said last pod or whatever that they haven't.
If 10 days, were a thing this early, they would maybe.
I think so. Then
do it.
You could just get someone non-guaranteed, and like I think they're leaving this roster spot open to save the money, and unless like Brook is legitimately out, and they get that feeling soon, I don't think there's anything you could do to persuade them. And plus, I think if it is someone, like, we're probably looking at the wrong framework for it right now, because they will wait until the G League season is a few weeks in, and maybe there's a center in the G League, which there is always, because you only get one or two real centers in the G League, and they stand head and shoulders above the rest. And maybe in that case,
Quite
the Bucks are
literally.
like, well, this is our guy. But I really am not buying it, and that does not make me very happy.
The other
And
thing
also,
they could do.
it's the beginning of the season.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what they could do?
What?
I mean, for free, you can get a guy with 4 or less years if you open up a two-way spot.
Say bye to Justin Robinson?
I mean,
I think they need him though right now,
do.
right?
Yeah, that's
They need
the
him right
issue
now.
is he's playing.
They
at
need a
night.
point guard if they got rid of him.
Yeah.
And he's been decent. Like I'm not gonna say he's
He
keep
just-
him by
I
all
will
means.
maintain that he has ideas.
He does have ideas.
He had this play during the Timberwolves game where he just like split two 2 3-point shooters trying to make a pass. It's like I knew you wanted to go to one of them, and that was a great idea, but you threw it to no one, so it was a turnover.
The Yorgos roster spot kind of hurts right now.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the thing with that is that's a great idea, and you like the guy you want to develop. Fine, that is the way you should do things. As long as you're not leaving an issue at another position on your roster to do that. And technically they aren't because they have another roster spot there. But if you wanted to keep a roster spot open to save money, and then you have Yorgos there, so you're not going to get another center, another big, that's a problem. That is not a good kind of situation managing.
Do you just have Yorgos play the Justin Robinson emergency point guard?
No.
I think you're worse. I don't
Play
know
him.
how much worse you are.
Play him at center.
Yes.
Oh, I think I'm
These are
the
the
other
big
one
brain
better.
ideas I like.
There we
Didn't
go.
Pat get announced the center in arena in the starting lineup
Did he
last
actually?
night? I believe he did.
Maybe Justin Robinson's not that far off then. But they need a center. Well, maybe they'll get one. Probably not. There's no way they ever waive Mamu, right?
I
No,
like
they're
how
not.
we
They're
just
not.
like resigned to this fate. I mean, Brook could come back. When's their next game? Saturday?
Yeah, they have a few
Brook
days
could come
off
back
now,
and
which is
remedy
nice.
some of these issues.
He could.
But at least like I take solace in the fact that there's been nothing more kind of glaring. Like it's just like, oh yeah, they're not without Brook and they can't rebound. They let up. I just looked it up too. They're the 24-second. They've only allowed one more or two other games. Sorry, in the Bud era, they've allowed more second chance points than last night.
Honestly, you know what's funny is the defense wasn't killing early. I mean, early in the game, the Timberwolves just hit everything. The defense wasn't killing me, and late. I mean, the Timberwolves. Rohan showed me this. I couldn't believe it. They shot terribly. Like they shot sub 30% from 3 too.
The second half, they
rebounding.
They couldn't hit a lot.
Though I think the Bucks offense sucked, and I think Chris still like if you send two guys at Chris, he's just like, oh god, what are we gonna do?
Plus, I mean, who knows if it carries them to actually like success, but like having Jared Vanderbilt, is it Jaden McDaniels or Jalen McDaniels? Yeah.
Jalen's in Orlando, I think.
That's right. Who's the other? I mean, Anthony Edwards is like, those are long guys. And it's like you could just tell like they're trying to be like the Raptors. I mean, Finch comes from the Raptors too, but like just having length and just like it can cover so much ground. Like
it looks more like a Kogi, the kind of the tenacious perimeter defender he is.
I didn't think about
He
that
didn't play.
comparison. That's a good comparison, Jordan.
Yeah, so
But like,
they can be the team in the West who has a bunch of guys who their fans say are next up, and they never win more than 30 games. It's a great legacy to uphold.
Which one's OG?
Probably
It's
McDaniels.
too mean to say Edwards.
McDaniels. No, Ant is good. McDaniels.
Yeah.
McDaniels is the OG.
I think
Theoretically,
Jaden
someday
McDaniels
he
is
can
going to be a
play
really
offense.
good defender, though.
He bottled up Chris pretty good last night.
Yeah, he did. But the rebounding is really what killed me, even more than the defense. I thought the defense was third on my list. I thought the offense hurt my eyes. It was just like Giannis made something work and they just did nothing. It didn't help that they were ice cold. They had generated some better shots. On a normal shooting game, they don't look so bad offensively. The rebounding is where you miss Brook the most. Because, I mean, these little 6'7" guys are just slithering in everywhere and grabbing every rebound. It's just like, I hate watching games like that when it's your team. Like, it's the most frustrating because they finally stop hitting 70% of their shots. They literally shot 68% in the first quarter, and now they're getting two chances at all of them because nobody can grab a rebound outside of Giannis, who I think had 16 boards in that game. Nobody else did anything, really. I mean, this is another game where, like, Chris, if you're the 4, you need more than 5 rebounds in 34 minutes. Like, you have to do more on that end, and it just didn't happen. Very disappointing Chris Middleton game.
I think
6'8", 6'4".
Sandro is a better option for rebounding than some of the guys that are out there.
Yeah, I don't think they brought him back, did they? He said
No,
Yeah,
no.
they did. He was on the bench.
It does say
Was he
it
on the
does
bench?
say
Okay.
coach's
Both-
decision. So
Both him and
Yeah, they were on the
Kalaitzakis.
bench. I think they were just there for the start of training camp because it was at Marquette,
yeah,
right, Jordan?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw them get recalled, but
They
I
just took an
figured-
Uber to
Yes.
Marquette's.
You can
Like
walk.
he's
Yeah,
gonna get
that's true. They can walk.
that man's gonna get out muscled and pushed around and stuff going for rebounds. But kind of early games, he's got an intensity, like a nose for the ball where he wants to go and get it. And there were a few Pat is generally a good rebounder, but there were definitely a couple last night. He actually
He only
two
had 2. It
rebounds.
was a really
Not-
bad
not
Pat
good for
game.
Pat.
Uncharacteristically bad Pat game.
Although
Although-
Shemi too, though, ball going through his hands.
Yeah.
It's like you just need someone to want to get there, get the ball, and let's get going, which is kind of what the Bucks are generally good at, aside from it part of it last night. It's like, yeah, Brook could have been there boxing out for some of those guys. I'm still not sure they would have got their hands on the ball.
Bobby
was just a
lost a
kinda
couple
weird night.
too. It was a really odd night, and I thought he's just not a fun game. I'm worried about Mamu's minutes now that Bobby Portis is back, because I feel like
Yeah, they're gone.
they just look at Bobby Portis as like what they hope Mamu could potentially be like 5 years from now.
And that's a really good outcome.
That would be an amazing outcome. But
It's fine if he's gonna play for the herd all the time and he
Yeah,
does
I
well
think
there. I don't have a
that's-
problem with it.
yeah. And again, I mean, they're going to need emergency replacements probably, as we've seen. So he'll be around for that too. Let's talk about Giannis. I know, Adam, you had said we should talk about Giannis. I think it's generally a good idea to talk about Giannis. He's not bad. The one nice part of the loss was the 40, 16, and 7 he put up with 3 blocks on 15 for 23 from the field and 3 for 6 from deep. Somebody tweeted, "Oh, we're not talking about the Giannis shooting anymore," and I think Giannis read it and
Ty,
took it
you're eating
personally.
tweets again.
I know, it's a bad habit. But Adam, go ahead, talk about Giannis. Let's have a more fun conversation.
But he's just really good, isn't he? I don't know if anyone had this conversation before, but Giannis,
Just ask
really
Anthony
good.
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards gave a great quote on Giannis, which you can
Jeez.
trust him
Oh
to do.
my God, yeah.
I think Giannis gave the best quote though. I don't know if you saw this. I tweeted out earlier. In his extensive kind of post game press conference. Among things, I mean, I think the Bucks chose to package it with something that was interesting, which was him kind of making a direct plea to the camera, being like, "Brook, I don't know where you are. Are you at home? We need your rebounding. I need your help. Get back out here." Which that was interesting. But Giannis had a line in there about he was asked about Bud kind of really going at him. I think it was in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And how he feels like that, how he responds to that. And he was saying, look, that's exactly what he wants. He's spoken with Bud about lots of times. He wants to be treated like anyone else. He wants to be coached. He wants to improve. And the way in typical Giannis fashion, where he just drops bars, basically. He can't but come out with a line where you're like, oh my God, this guy. He says, I don't want to progress. I want to ascend. And I was just like, this guy is amazing. Like, you watch the game he had, and it's kind of like he was fighting them on his own, and it matters less than ever. Like, Anthony Edwards spoke to that, but it matters less than ever. It's like, okay, there's 4 guys, so this shot is literally impossible. I'm gonna shoot it anyway because I'm just gonna get the rebound and dunk it. And he is on another plane completely. This is part of the reason why I really want a big, because I am concerned about Giannis getting burned out in some way. He was clearly feeling it too.
Yeah,
Just with Drew and Brook out, he's having to play more than you might like to. I mean, his minutes aren't out of control. They're being pretty kind of safe and responsible with that.
35 last night.
Yeah, but you could be playing him less, like if those guys are there, and certainly you could be just taking him out of some of the kind of more combative stuff too. So I just thought a completely kind of a controlled performance in terms of he knows what's within his realm of control.
Wait,
Not all of his shot attempts, not all of that was actually something where you're like, oh, that's a great decision. That doesn't matter, because he's like, okay, well, I can do this and I know what I can do next. Also, I know shooting, we talked about coming into the season and it's been hit and miss to start, but some of those shots, he pulled up from deep for one of those trees. And it's like, okay, there is a thing where he clicks into confidence right now when he's stepping into those. They are a little bit different.
You can't just you can't tease the Anthony Edwards on Giannis quote multiple times and not read it.
I was
haven't
trying to
heard the
buy
quote.
time for someone to get it.
Oh, I thought you had it. Oh, well,
No,
okay.
I already had Giannis.
I have a
That's why
conspiracy
I
theory.
kept saying it.
I have a conspiracy theory.
What's your conspiracy
Maybe it's
theory?
not. Maybe this is just accepted fact. I don't think he meant to make the shot when it like hits off glass and he gets the rebound within 4 guys and dunked it. The speed with which the dunk happened. I mean, I know he's a superhuman. To me, it looked like kind of a plan. That's
Hey,
my
Angle,
conspiracy.
Are we
think that's-
assuming
I
that he
think that's-
tried to make the shot?
I think
I
he
thought he
did.
was going off glass to himself all the time.
I think that's what Marcus even said at the broadcast too.
Marcus
You
did
can
say he
see
thought it
the
was
angle. It's just he hits it so hard that it's like, oh, it's more of like the Tracy McGrady in the All-Star game, off the backboard and
But
slam it, right?
I think the point of that is, and what makes Giannis so special is he doesn't have to think about that. It's not like he's just like, well, I'm just gonna put this ball up there, and if it goes in, that's great. If it doesn't, I'm gonna get it. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
the way that we have to process that, and it's like, am I trying to play it to myself? Am I trying to shoot? Giannis is just like, I'm in traffic. There's bodies everywhere. Let's put this up. Maybe I get fouled. Maybe it goes in. If neither happens, well, I'm just gonna go and get it myself anyway. And that's kind of the way he was playing last night. Where it's just like, what do you do about that?
Okay, I have the quote here if you guys want it.
Yes.
Anthony
Please.
Edwards on Giannis. I have to censor some stuff. MF for 7'2", 280 pounds shoot. We put 4 people on him and he'll still score the ball.
I love Anthony Edwards, man. I couldn't even be
He's
that
so
mad
good.
if they won. Like, I feel like he alone. I think I've appreciated Towns more. I feel like Ant alone has made me be like, I could.
How can you hate Anthony
Yeah, I
Edwards?
mean,
man?
it's, when he scored on Chris late to basically ice the game, I was like mad, but I was also like, this guy Ant is up this year.
Yeah.
Okay, like he's just gonna do this a lot. I think. I don't think this is an isolated incident just to the Bucks anymore.
Do you have the full quote wrong? Because there is more to it than that.
I can't find it right now.
I have it now. I can pick up. where you
Okay,
left off.
thank you.
Shoot again. I'm censoring some stuff here. We put 4 people on him, and he'll still score the ball. I was telling Leo, I'm like, bro, I ain't never seen nothing like it. We can put like 4 people on him. He might miss it, jump right back up, and dunk that ball. We'll say. There's nothing you can do about it. Him scoring the ball, it doesn't amaze none of us. This is what he do. I can't say we contained him. He went for 40. The game plan was to not let him beat us, and we came out victorious. He's amazing. There's nothing I can say about him. He's unstoppable.
And did Towns do a jersey swap? Did I see that right or something?
He did.
Yeah.
Which Giannis
No
said he
photo
wanted
op though,
Towns'
so
jersey
it's like
for his
a
collection.
legit jersey swap.
What'd you say, Adam?
Giannis said he was asked about it after the game, and he said, I'm a collector. I collect jerseys. I collect cards. He said Thanasis had already got Anthony Edwards' jersey. So
What?
he said, yeah.
Oh, right after the
So,
game?
Right after the game.
I thought you meant at a previous. I was like, when did
No,
this
no.
happen?
The way I read it was that, or not even read it because I watched Giannis say it. It seemed like he maybe would have looked to swap with Anthony Edwards, but Thanasis beat him to it. So he was like, "Okay, hey, Kat, can we swap jerseys?" But yeah, he talked about. He says he's big into collecting cards now, and he's big into collecting jerseys. So it's like, oh, that's
All
cool.
I'm
I
saying
relate.
is, Giannis also said to Kat, "See you soon."
Yeah.
I want to recruit
We're looking for
the whole Timberwolves.
We're looking for a big.
Let the Wolves fans have this.
Yeah, I don't.
yeah.
There's certain franchises that I don't want to flip that in its head and do that to. I mean, the Wolves have had about as miserable a time as anyone for a very long time.
Yeah.
Even their great season, it ended with Jimmy Butler doing everything that he did. This
This
the
is how we
offseason
know
after.
that Bucks fans
Even-
are just we're so fed up with this from all the years because I mentioned about the Bucks getting Carl Anthony Towns. You guys are like, come on, let Wolves fans have this.
It is kind of rude.
Stop it. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Don't do
but
this.
I mean, you mentioned that. I think even this year, like they're coming in, it's like, okay, Anthony Edwards gonna go in. We've got Cat. There's an interesting roster. All of those kind of young defenders we talked about earlier. That's like the season's about to start, and you get the whole Gerson Rosas thing. Like,
Yeah,
they just cannot get a chance to have an actual run at something. I think they've got a good coach now too. So
If
in theory, like they
A-Rod
should.
might be their owner if he. It's such a weird team.
Isn't he already?
He is,
No,
but it's
they're
like an
not,
agreement.
though.
It's not actually officially handed over.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
a weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the Timberwolves.
It's yes. It's a very Timberwolves way of doing things.
Giannis now up to 35% from deep on the season. Very early.
Let's go.
Very early. But I feel like that's around the number we all said, like, oh, if he hits that many even. My number has always been, if he ever is consistently like 37%, there's just nothing you can do at that point. 37% is like, okay. 35% is still probably good enough, though.
That's almost Shemi Ojale on catch and shoot threes numbers.
I'll just skip past that very quickly. 35% with 73.5% from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's the bigger one.
Yep.
That's the combo. Like if the two of those are just raised to that kind of level all around, it becomes completely unstoppable.
Also 6.6 assists, which yes, it's 5 games, but he's never averaged over 6 in a season.
Ooh, I like that. He should have had way more than 7 against the Wolves.
Every game, I feel like he's been shortchanged because they're just not hitting shots. I mean, if you look at the 3-point, Grayson's at 32, Chris is at 25, and they're taking a combined like 14 threes per game or something. Like and Pat is dropped down to 36 after last night. If some of the high volume guys were hitting more, he'd have way more assists early this season because he has been spraying good passes.
His passing, like when we talked about him ascending, that is one of the main takeaways from this. Like I know Nikias Duncan was tweeting like some clips of this earlier this morning, where he's just like, he's not only just looking off like defenders now, he's looking off like 2 passes away defenders. Like there was a play against the Wolves where I believe it was the first made bucket of the game where Pat Connaughton hit a corner 3 for the Bucks. Sort of Giannis was at the top and he was sort of looking at Pat in the corner and then threw the ball right to Grayson on the wing, who gave it to Pat for a wide open 3. Because the defenders were already going towards Pat. Then they had to redirect to go to Grayson, who, again, we talked about on our last pod, is a real shooting threat, not just a driving threat, a shooting threat. So they had to collapse to Grayson, which leads to Pat having a wide open 3. It's a different level of passing that we're seeing from Giannis this season, and it's incredible.
He has 55 potential assists through 5 games, which is 5th in the league in terms of total potential assists, but only 22 of them have actually become assists because the player made the shot. Without doing the math, it looks like one of the worst ratios for guys up this high. Cole Anthony's is pretty bad too, the Magic stink, but a lot of these players are like more than half of them convert, Giannis not so much. So again, if the Bucks start shooting hotter, I think he could have even more assists per game, although this is a high number for him. Do we have any more Giannis or Bucks thoughts before we do a little bit on the Wisconsin herd?
I got a prediction.
Oh, is it a score prediction? Is this a Rohan thing or
no?
You didn't have to say that disgusting.
Yeah, now
you know how
it's
disgusted
defensive.
I am by that.
Disgusted.
No, that's disgust.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
I think Giannis will be scoring later this year.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's one of the things. It's one of the only things missing on his resume now. So I think with the way he works, he will have thought about that, and I see no reason why. I think 31, 32 points per game. I can see it this year. I don't even think he needs to play the kind of minutes that he probably won't play. I think it's there for him. I'm banking all of those sounds of doubt in my ears, and we'll visit them at the end of the season.
Bank them up. I don't like it. I think it might be Steph again.
It might be Steph again.
Do you know he's not even leading?
I do.
Do you know who's leading?
I have it up.
Ja Morant is leading.
I don't think that holds. I think he'll get tired eventually.
Oh yeah, I mean he also might miss games too.
Yeah.
He's just
KD might have to.
Yeah, the way Harden looks, KD's gonna have to score 35 a night.
Yeah, to be 6'6" and just try to bait fouls all the time. I mean,
can we? I got called out for being too early on putting. There was his worst start through 4 games.
He also admitted that he's not 100% from his hamstring injury.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Which is like I don't understand why teams are doing this. Like the Embiid quote too, that he apparently told Ramona Shelburne he couldn't walk for 2 days after his game against the Pelicans. Why are these guys playing in October?
I get why the Sixers are doing that though. I mean, it's not a good reason, but they're trying to pretend that like they're still a capable team.
Embiid's prime. Let's see if we can.
But they also don't have the greatest medical staff either.
They don't have the greatest medical staff.
Documented.
But they're let's say they don't have a whole lot of leverage in some other situations at the moment. It does not improve if Joel Embiid is injured and they're
For
getting
their playoff
absolutely-
odds? Is that what you're going to talk
Well,
about?
that also applies, Jordan. I don't think it helps their playoff odds.
Is this the
So-
worst situation that any team is in right now in the NBA?
Yes.
Serious question, which is
Yep.
hard to do with a legit MVP candidate on the roster.
I don't
It's-
know.
it's
I feel like if
more
I thought of
impressive.
that, we'll find another one. I mean,
Maybe.
that's a good way of putting it. It's impressive to be making this much of a
That-
mess
that-
of the situation that they had.
That they could be in the conversation for like, what is their possible best case outlook over the next 5 years? They flip Ben for a star and win a title, I guess.
At least they
Yeah.
could flip him, though. I mean, we
They
can't say that
could.
about Kyrie.
Yeah, but at least I mean, the Nets, I think, could still, if Harden
They
gets in the
still
form, they could still win.
they could still win the title regardless.
Do you think
I think-
Kyrie is?
could.
Can they?
Yeah,
Could.
I think they could.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's more possible than the Sixers without Ben.
Yeah, but they're in the same boat as the Bucks were last year. Like they made that trade for Harden. If he's not, I mean, he's already an older player. He has a
Yeah,
lot of miles.
But the
on
thing,
his-
he's out of shape. This happens with Harden every season. He comes into
But
camp out of shape. And
he
it's
usually is on the downturn at the end of the season.
This is the longest
Right?
he's been bad to start a year since he was coming off the bench in OKC.
Well,
He's
his
never
problem
started
is
this slow since
the
becoming a
last time he
starter.
had that few free throw attempts through his first 5
OKC.
games is when he's coming off the bench in OKC. So that is your issue. He's a guy who he's obviously one of the greatest shot makers the NBA has ever seen.
There's
but
a
he
snowball effect right now.
Sure, he has made his career out of his ability to get to the line, and that's what gets him going. That's what gives him rhythm, and he's not getting that anymore.
Also,
We'll-
like out of
we'll
shape,
see him get into a rhythm.
out of shape, a ton of miles over the last few years because
And
refused to ever give up the ball at any point in Houston.
and if you can't practice with the new rules, because he had his hamstring injury, he didn't play for Team USA. Granted, it was literally a month after the Nets season
He had
ended.
committed to it.
Yeah, he
which
committed to it,
surprised me.
But like I don't know. There's a lot of
It's
I mean,
concerning.
It's concerning,
I-
but
would say
Jordan's
there.
Jordan's getting ready to write them off. I know when Jordan
I'm
goes this
not
way,
doing
they're the
that
Celtics
yet.
to Jordan now.
Also,
Yeah.
Kyrie could still just show up at some point too. They're dangerous unless KD leaves. Like it's just,
what is he?
Does it help when Kyrie shows up, or
Yeah.
does another
Yes.
problem emerge? I mean,
No,
no, but
it
seriously,
does.
this is
It couldn't be worse than right now.
Yeah, I think this is probably the worst I'll feel about the Nets for a while.
I
Not
actually
that
disagree with that.
personally- I
What
no.
could Kyrie do?
he
What
could
do you
be
think?
there. Like
I think
I
he's-
don't
I
think
think
he's
this
going to
is
be
worse
welcomed
than him
back
being-
into that locker room with open arms. I think there's something there that is going to be a really difficult thing for them to overcome.
Depends if he's in shape. If he comes in and looks great, I think they'll be like, "Oh, thank God." Now we
Yeah.
can let James rest for a week, like he's clearly needed to do.
What kind of shape can he be in though?
He's Kyrie.
His
Like,
mental muscles
Yeah, has he
are
got
fully
ye-
flexed.
Yee's chair, is that what he's working out with? Like, I mean, what is
he's
he actually
playing,
going
he's
up
playing
against?
backyard football. Did you see that clip?
No, I did not see that clip.
No, he's
I don't
just,
know.
he's just playing pickup football.
I think the Sixers are just in such bad shape, which just kills me. It just brings me joy. People had declared the process successful. I don't think we're there.
They haven't made a conference finals.
Less successful than the Hawks process.
Yeah, that's really putting it in perspective. The Hawks have had more.
And everybody
success
killed them for
than-
trading Luca.
Yep.
Which I still think was probably not a great move,
Oh.
but they're making it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Trading
process,
Cam can be
And
really
the
good.
Mavericks hired Jason Kidd.
well, that's a different thing entirely. The process was somewhat successful, but
It wasn't worth it, I don't think.
like the process was successful to get them to a point where they would have wanted to get, and they've made a complete mess of it since. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the point. Like, they got a really good roster, and they had all the chips to make moves, and they made a lot of big moves in a hurry, and they got a lot of them wrong, and guys that traded for left, and here you are. And it's like,
I think I think it shows you it's better to build like an actual team than to just try and get the best asset possible every time. Because if you look at the players they actually drafted, it's just like it's not worth it to blow up
Yeah, a
your
lot of
team
whiffs.
for half a decade because that's how it's always
Yeah.
going to be. There's always going to be a lot of whiffs. So instead of blowing up your team, maybe actually try to develop players instead of, oh, you showed something once.
Not trying to murder them. as well with
Goodbye,
Zaire
goodbye
Smith.
for 2 second-round picks.
Yeah.
Everyone you've ever had. So, you were good. Bye. We need to keep doing the process. We need to keep. It's not worth it. You could pick 5 and end up with a better player than 2, or you could finish 5th last and end up with a better pick than the guy who finished 2nd last. It's not worth it to do all this. They got Embiid, and I guess Simmons was the 2nd best player they've drafted this whole time, and now no one wants him. And Markelle Fultz and Jaleel Okafor, and I don't even remember Saric, I guess.
Yeah,
Noel.
Michael
Michael Carter-Williams, who looked good, and they immediately dumped him. And granted, it worked out, but
that was a good move.
It wasn't worth it. None of it was worth it. Like, just be a normal team and develop and make the right moves, and you can be better without having to destroy your fan base's collective psyche.
Yeah, because you've still got to make good decisions coming at the other side of it.
Also, relationship building is more important than this asset fetishization that happens around the league. The teams who build good relationships have done better.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with that. You're getting fired up here.
I am. I'm
not arguing with you.
I don't like
but
the way we
I
talk
think
about
the thing
these
that's
things.
I think the thing that's important is all that matters. It's like it's fine to decide that's the way you're going to do things and to burn some bridges to get the best assets you can. My dog is having a say.
He's on my side. I can feel it.
No, I mean he's telling you to back down, Ty.
I don't
I'm pretty
think
sure
so.
that's what's happening. But you get to the other side of it and you come out there. It's like you've got to make good decisions. Like if you look at OKC now, what they're doing could be great. It could be great if Sam Presti has the run of picks that like he got when he picked Durant, Westbrook, Harden. But that is like a once in a generation making the right decision over and over again. So you'll put yourself in a position to be able to do that. But actually, the hardest part of all of it is getting those calls right.
I don't know. Josh Giddey looks pretty good.
Yeah, and let's see how long he wants to stay there if they win 16 games a year for the next 2 years. I think it's better to try and be good. I know this is a hot take online these days.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
You're treating it like one. I
think it is. I had people saying Sam Presti is the best GM in basketball because he has this war chest. It means nothing until you do something with it. I think he's
good because he's also done other things. Though.
Yeah, I know. Listen, his draft record is great for sure. I'm not taking that away. But
and he's doing it in the small market.
Doing what?
Like he had a long stretch of very
He had a great draft run. That's true.
He built the best team you could possibly build in a market like OKC.
Yeah. At the time, Melo.
Sure.
That was like 5 years ago.
I know, but he might be the Lakers' 3rd best player now.
The Lakers.
That might say more about the Lakers than about Melo at this point.
It certainly does.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Airball the game tying 3 attempt last night.
Melo or Westbrook or both?
Melo.
I think both, right? I think.
Was it Westbrook? Yeah. He got ejected, right?
He did.
Yeah. No, Westbrook hit rim, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I've got nothing to say on this. I don't pay attention to non-playoff teams.
Oh.
I'm not even joking. I don't like the last spot. I was like, oh, the Lakers won, did they? And it was a genuine question. It's like the Lakers are a joke. That roster is an absolute joke.
Also, LeBron has missed 2 games now.
Yeah.
I think that to me, that's
tweeting about Colin Sexton. Cavaliers comeback. Here we
Getting
go.
called out by the Squid Game director.
Oh my goodness,
that was great. I thought the Squid Game director response was actually pretty fair. He just seemed genuinely hurt.
Yeah.
LeBron was not happy with being called out about something he said, which was a complete shock.
He's going to read the first 5 pages of a book about it on IG later. That's my funniest set of memes, very specific NBA memes, is people making fun of LeBron always being 4 pages into whatever book he's reading when he posted on social. He's not read any of these books. I'm not buying it, LeBron.
Like, if you're just going to do it for the picture, go in the middle. It doesn't matter. No one's going to ask.
Like, clearly 2 pages into the Malcolm X biography or the book. I don't know.
Like, no one's going to ask, like, oh, what do you think of the first?
He carried the Godfather around for quite a while.
Yeah, he did.
Like, do you think the photo person in the tunnel is going to be like, oh, what do you think of the first 100 pages of this book? Like, no.
What part are you at? Let's talk about the Wisconsin herd. Now that I yelled about overvaluing assets versus relationships.
You become the yelling guy. Have you noticed that?
It was the response to the Drew Holiday trade that I think that broke me on this one. It pissed me off so bad. People, that was panned at the time. What?
When did this happen?
When they traded for Drew Holiday.
Were you doing solo pods? I don't remember this.
No, I was reading what people said about it. And it's
Oh,
like
okay.
everyone, it's way too many picks. It's the 2027 first. What, are you
Oh,
kidding
right.
me?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, I'm
none of
talking
this.
generally, though. I mean, you find something to yell about most episodes.
That's 2 episodes.
In a row.
This is a
That's-
Shemi Ojale sample size. We got to wait.
You're 100% for the
we gotta
season
wait
so
and
far.
see the data. On pods that you're on. Let's connect the dots.
Are you saying something?
We view Adam as a moderator.
Or an instigator? In
Yeah, I was
Kai's eyes,
going
Yeah.
to say. Herd training camp roster. Let's see if we yell about this. I think it's quite good. I love that they brought back Jamario Jones and Leon Gilmore and Ray John Tucker, who is like right on the edge of like close to an NBA player, but hasn't shown quite enough yet. I know he technically was an NBA player last year, but certainly I expect him to dominate the G League again like he did last year. Probably won't be able to keep him all year, quite honestly. But the name I got the most excited about, weirdly enough, Wenyen Gabriel. I'm a huge Wenyen Gabriel guy. When Wenyen Gabriel on the Blazers was guarding LeBron, and like, listen, they lost. He didn't stop LeBron, but I thought it was Jordan. You gotta
Talk about a big guy that the Bucks might need. I don't know. We'll
I think
see.
he's a little too small.
He's like what, 6'9"?
He's 6'9", yeah. He's
6'9", 205. He's on the
he's
slider
slight.
side.
He's a wing
Bucks-
defender. He's a wing defender.
The Bucks should get
now.
Jamario to go get all the rebounds.
Jamario would
That's
be
a good point.
Jamario
Yeah.
would probably lead this team in rebounds without Brook Lopez. If he played.
Even with Brook Lopez, he might.
Yeah, Brook Lopez would box out. Jamario would grab every board. I would have loved Jamario on a 2-way contract. But I know, Jordan, you do a lot of G League coverage as well. What were your thoughts on the training camp roster they released?
It's very good. you have the foundation of they're calling it like their championship team, which it's sad,
Yeah,
but
it's
also
tenuous. Yeah.
it
Yeah,
makes
Chase
sense.
Buford, when we talked to him, was really upset about it.
Yeah. But yeah, you got Tucker, Jones, Gilmore, Trayvon Waters is going to be a good guard. I mean, he's proven that already in his time in the G League.
I don't even know if he's going to start, but he might be the Shannon Bogues. It's just like a really
He's
solid
like-
bench presence, at least.
I think, it's going to be, if Robinson's down there with them, it's going to be like a Jalen Adams, Frank Mason type deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wenyen Gabriel gives them a little bit more size than they would with, if it was just Jamario at the 5 or kind of their pseudo 5. I mean, there's interesting players all along the roster. I mean, Jalen LeCue, is it Leck or LeCue?
I say LeCue, but I'm not sure.
I would
think
have
it's
said
LeCue.
Leck. So
Leck?
well, I'm gonna if all 3 of you say LeCue, but
I'm
I
not
always-
sure though, honestly.
The pronunciation guide on B-Ball Ref says LeCue.
Okay.
Look at you. Sorry, that was terrible. He's very interesting. He's only 20 years old. He came from high school or came
21,
out.
21 now, but yeah.
Oh, he's 21?
Yeah.
He can legally drink.
That's big in Oshkosh, actually. That's
that is,
he's gonna have a much better time than he would have last year.
Lindell Wigington, I believe, is a guy he had. I remember him. I think when he was undrafted, but he was kind of a interesting undrafted. I mean, there's just a couple different flyers that you just kind of like, oh, that's an interesting guy. Seeing Salmon down there, I think is going to be really good for
Yeah.
him and his development.
The Sandpit.
There we go. Yeah, I'm very excited. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together for them, and hopefully we see as good of a year as we did a couple years ago.
I'm a little worried they won't be able to keep my guy Wenyen long enough. He shot 40% from 3 in 21 games last year with the Pelicans.
I had a question, a kind of zoomed out, deeper G League question that
yeah.
you guys will be better suited to answering. Is it possible that this roster is too good to start the season? If you actually want to win a G League championship, I think this roster is too good because these guys are all going to be gone and you're going to be scrambling for replacements.
But I would have said
it's just a weird thing with the G League.
Jordan's gonna nail it.
I would have said the same thing about it 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's still better because then even after the call ups, you have enough guys.
You have more guys, sure.
Yeah,
But it's
Not everyone's gonna get called up.
I bet I would guess it.
That's the thing.
I would guess they get 2 to 3 throughout the season though, but they don't always stick. Is the set? Sometimes it's a 10-day or something else like that. But I think Gabriel could be a 2-way guy at least at some point. if not more, if someone really needs a wing.
Maybe with the Bucks.
But they don't need a wing is the issue. Not right now, it doesn't seem like.
He'll play some 4.
Yeah, I would say he's more of a 4, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he is. But again, it's like Portis, Jemmy, Giannis, Rodney Hood, Chris, Pat. I just don't know if they're going to need that skill set.
Break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah. But I think Ray John probably gets called up at some point.
For sure.
It wouldn't
You
surprise
got to call
me.
up with Utah last year, right?
Yeah, Utah, and
He got called up, and then he
played with
played
the Clippers too.
and the
And
Sixers,
Yeah.
right?
Sixers before that, right? He went-
Yeah.
Like he's certainly keeps scratching and clawing his way into the NBA, and just hasn't come to fruition at this point.
I still think Jamario is an NBA player too. I mean, I think he's so good at the G League level, but he's shown in his brief time with the Lakers, he was still rebounding like this. Like there's usefulness for a guy like that. We'll see. I think the size.
Lakers
and
would be
lack of
better off with him
shooting-
now.
They would. He would be better next to
Famously,
Anthony Davis
better
than
than
DeAndre
Thanasis,
Jordan.
according to Ty.
I stand by that. I
Yeah,
think he is
Jones.
better than Thanasis. They're different players, but I think he's probably more useful. And I like Leon Gilmore as well.
Yep.
I think what's really cool about what they did in, obviously Chase Buford gets the job in Australia. They go with Chase and Allen, his lead assistant.
Chase
from
to
the last
Chasen.
year. Chase to Chasen, which we got some great. We got actually great puns in the locker room when Chase Buford was. He doesn't like when I say suspension. Away from the team for undisclosed reasons for a couple of games. There was, I think Justin Patton made a very corny but funny Chase and Chasen joke or something like that because they won the 2 games. But I think they're building on the culture too by bringing back Lee and Jamario and Ray John Tucker, who were all guys who were very liked in the locker room, and I think they'll be able to build on what they had 2 years ago, which I think is as important almost as the talent because that was like a very unified group, and that's how you instead of just being there's G League teams where it's like, oh, they have 4 or 5 really good players and they're all just gunning versus these guys played like a team and they won a lot of games. I think Jamario has a lot to do with that too. Like he's a very good player who does not need to take a lot of shots to be very effective.
Yeah.
Gonna be good. It's gonna be a good show in Oshkosh. I'm excited to watch.
But too long.
Do you guys think because there's a new front office with the Herd, how do you guys think that's going to affect the season?
I don't think it's going to change all that much because it's guys who were there working with Dave Dean and the other guys. So I would imagine it's going to be, rough. I mean, they're literally trying to run it back as much as possible. So I don't think we're going to see a much different approach to the strategy of the Herd. But I guess one more guy I'm interested in is Delorier, who just didn't do it for me at all in preseason, but
I feel bad for the things
I
they
know.
said, but they're also fair.
They were very strong, Ty. I mean, where he was always a guy who was clearly there for this purpose.
It
Now
was
I
that
know
post up that just killed me.
it's like
First
your own
possession
Bryn
of the
Forbes
preseason.
moments for me. Was
Yeah, it was. It was similar to that, but I got there quicker. There was a shorter leash to be had. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A shorter rope, I should say, but I don't know. He could prove me wrong. He's a youngish player, a lot of blocks in
I
college.
hope he does.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I know. I always feel bad when I'm just like.
I don't think
trashing
Javin
things.
listens to the podcast. Maybe, probably not.
I know, but it's my own conscience.
Rohan
that's a
up
good
at-
thing, Rohan. You
Rohan
stick
up
with
at
that.
night, twisting and turning. Did we
I
go
don't
too
like
far
saying
with the
bad things about
Delorier
players.
criticism?
I don't like it.
Take it back
makes me
about
feel
Bob
bad.
Pettit. Take it
No, sorry,
back.
Bob. Sorry, Bob. He's the one exception. Sorry, Bob. I'm kidding. Love you, Bob Pettit. I'm actually coming around on Bob.
Oh yeah.
The more
What's
I learn,
changing your mind? Oh, okay.
the more I'm learning about it,
Wikipedia.
it's leading to a changed opinion. It's wild. how
Next
that
week
works.
I'm winning 6. Brown's coming on, and Jordan and I are going to teach him about Bob Pettit.
I'm fine with that.
3 hours, 24 minutes later, Rohan will either be entirely broken or a Bob Pettit fan. Those are the two options.
Those really are. Are we done here? This has been a wild episode.
I think so. I think I know it was a wild episode. I think we're done too.
Okay. Well, if Adam, Jordan, you guys don't have anything to add here as we wrap this up.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, this is the first time the 4 of us have been together in a while. We're gonna have more of this type of content coming soon because we know you guys like the crossovers. It's all over like the reviews are always about like, oh, I enjoy the crossover and stuff like that. So we're going to try to do this as much as possible during the regular season, while also keeping Gyro Step 1 and 6 content. That's the beautiful thing about the GSPN. And time for some plugs. Well, first, thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step Podcast Network here as part of the Blue Wire family. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, Gyro Step Podcast Network on YouTube. Subscribe to the Substack, gspn.substack.com. Make sure you are subscribed to this feed on your podcast platform of choice. Leave a 5-star review wherever you can. And just, make sure you keep supporting the show. 5 stars, as always. Ty, right? 5 stars?
It's got to be 5. And we like them all. We do prefer Apple, but we like them all.
Wherever the others are that we're still trying to find.
You got to show us, because we don't know. We have no idea. If you rated us...
I'll find some. I definitely, I know from even the old Win in 6 days, there are definitely other platforms that give you the option to review.
Yeah, Adam will find them. Otherwise, you can send them to us. But otherwise, we'll send Adam to do the scouting.
I meant I'd find them so you guys can go and look them up. I feel like it backfired on me.
Yeah, I mean, you offered.
Just to find the places where they are, not the specific reviews.
Well, if you're going that far anyway. It's just one more step. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. Go Bucks. We'll talk to you next time.